All right. My name is Sue Christensen, and this is our home, our little bit of land. So when we built our house about 3 years ago, and I had never had a yard before and was completely overwhelmed. I had no idea where to even begin. And so I started, if I had known anything, we probably would have done something different. But because I didn't know anything, I started talking to some friends, and they started telling me about Localscapes. They had free classes and everything, and I'm like, oh, great, it's local and it's landscape. Great, that's what I'm going to do. So I went and was really surprised to see the introduction of a completely different way of laying out your yard. Like, I grew up with the house that had the big lawn area where we mowed all the time around everything, and the idea that you had central areas and places you designed on purpose to be inviting, to invite people to do things, was completely interesting. And my husband and I are very conscientious of trying to do things with the environment and stuff, so having a water-wise landscape was really cool. When we began, every bit of this was like I was hauling every stone by hand as I was watching the landscape companies and wishing I had an instant yard. We just didn't have the money for it. And so it was a lot of grunt labor, and there are a lot of, like, it's home, but there's a lot of imperfections that are perfect. So we wanted to have fruit trees, but we didn't want to mow, and we wanted them to be somewhere that we could come and sit in and enjoy, but wouldn't be the main focus in our yard when people came to stay and enjoy. So we put them on the side where there's plenty of room for the fruit trees. And we also didn't want to put grass under them because we wanted to be able to clean up the fruit easy. We didn't want to be mowing around them or anything. So we put them over here, and it gives us a chance, like in about a month, the alyssum will grow up over the pathway, and it'll be a prettier walkway through here. But it's been a really great place to just be able to come to the side and have its own place for them. So our kids are teenagers, and if they were younger, we probably would have done this differently, and we're now starting to adjust for the possibility of grandkids someday and stuff. But so we wanted a place where they could bring their friends, we could bring our friends, and we'd have different places. So we have just a place to kind of walk through. We have a great sitting area, a place to eat, and then different areas where people can sit and enjoy just talking and being around each other. And it's not all finished, but it's laid out to where, as we get the funds to do it, we can add it in.
All right, so one of the things I noticed that you've done that's really effective is people think, oh, if I have these really wide planting beds, there'll be so much work. But what you did was put paths through it, and now the actual planted space is smaller, but it's all functional space.
It is, and you can walk through it, and I can actually get to things to be able to, when things aren't doing well or anything, I can get to them and take them out or change it up. But it's also, you get to enjoy it as you walk through.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great seating area. And a nice, simple fountain. We actually have a meter on this type of a fountain at the Conservation Garden Park and have found they use substantially less water than we imagined.
Really?
If they have the dry pond like you've got here.
They do.
And that's really important for pollinators to have that water source. Let's check this out. Right. So I noticed that you've got multiple seating areas around the yard. How is that working for you in terms of function?
It's been fantastic. Eventually we'll put a fire pit in here, but it's so fun because as we bring family over, or we do, like, even Mother's Day, we had people over, and there was a huge gathering, but people could have their own areas to talk, then we could all get together to do something in the middle and play, but it gave everybody space to feel comfortable.
We got a nice vegetable garden activity zone.
That's
an awesome shed.
Which again, like my husband, we told the kids, hey, we have something fun to do this weekend. It wasn't a weekend. We built it from the 2x4s up. Wow. And but again, there's the ownership there of, hey, we couldn't do it any other way.
Right. So yeah, you still have plenty of lawn to use, but you've reduced the total amount so that it's, and you've put it where it's fairly level, and 100% of that lawn is usable. There's no weird extensions or awkward bits.
No, that's what it was for.
See, what would you tell anyone that was thinking about doing this type of yard for themselves?
Oh, do it. And a lot of people, when we began, again, because I was just taking Localscapes like word for it, I was really worried. When I started putting in my park strip, I had a neighbor come over and ask me what I was doing. They said, it looks a lot better if we're all the same when we all have something green, and you must like weeding because look at all these beds. And we have a great pre-emergent. I haven't had a weed in 2 years. So it's like it's actually, I get to have a lot more area to play with, and then the maintenance is lower. And now, like, the neighbors, they've all been really nice. But as they come by, nobody's worried about it anymore. They look at it and they're just like, oh, this is very inviting.
Because you use the right techniques to create it.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
You bet.
Localscapes. I'm Cynthia B., and we'll see you on the next tour.